Chiemeka was born into a life of hope. His father was a mighty leader, a king in the village where the sun kissed the earth and the people lived in peace. But when his father suddenly died, everything shattered. His mother, a kind-hearted woman with a gentle spirit, was blamed for his death. The village elders, in their fear and confusion, turned to the oracle. But the oracle's words were twisted, and they accused her of using dark magic to take the life of the king. The villagers, full of anger and suspicion, cast her out. With nothing left, Chiemeka and his mother were sent away, banished from the very land they once called home. As they wandered through thick forests and across dry deserts, they suffered the harshness of the world. People who once greeted them with smiles now closed their doors, too afraid to show kindness. They were outcast, forgotten by the world. But Chiemeka, though young, was not broken. His mother told him stories of the gods and their plans for him. "You are destined for greatness, my son," she whispered, holding him close when the night was darkest. "The gods have chosen you to lead." But Chiemeka could not see it. How could a boy, an outcast with no home, ever become a king? How could a boy who was rejected by everyone, even his own people, ever rise to greatness? As the years passed, strange things began to happen in the village. Crops withered in the fields. Children fell ill with mysterious diseases. Livestock were found dead, their bodies twisted in unnatural ways. The people spoke in fearful whispers, wondering if their suffering was a punishment from the gods for banishing the true heir. The elders, desperate and confused, consulted the oracle many times. Each time they asked, the answer was the same: the true king shall return from exile, and only he can lift the curse that plagues your land. But who could this king be? Who could return from exile, when the only one who had been banished was a boy with no power? It was then that the gods began to show their hand. The skies grew dark, and strange storms ravaged the land. The earth trembled beneath the feet of the people, and the winds howled as if warning them of something to come. Chiemeka, now a young man hardened by hardship, felt the call. The gods were speaking, and their message was clear. His mother, though weak from years of wandering, took his hand one last time. "The gods are with you, my son," she said, tears shining in her eyes. "You must return to the village. You must claim what is yours. The throne is waiting for you." With his heart heavy, Chiemeka left his mother to rest under the shade of an old tree. He walked towards the village, knowing that it was time to face his destiny, though he was unsure of how he would be received. When Chiemeka arrived at the village gates, the people recoiled in fear. They remembered him, the outcast, the boy they had abandoned. But his eyes were different now, filled with a fire that had been kindled by years of pain and perseverance. The elders, reluctant but bound by the oracle's prophecy, finally agreed to crown him. But before the ceremony could begin, an accusation was made. His mother, though long gone, was blamed for causing the suffering of the village. They said she had used dark magic to bring about the curse. Chiemeka's heart broke. His mother, the one person who had always believed in him, was still being blamed for things she did not do. He could not allow this to stand. In a voice that shook the very air around him, Chiemeka cried out to the gods. "You have given me strength, you have guided me through the darkest of times. I will not let my mother's name be stained by lies." The sky itself seemed to respond to his call. Thunder rumbled in the distance, and the winds whispered through the trees. The ground beneath the village seemed to rise, a reminder that the gods were present. With a mighty gesture, Chiemeka stepped forward and proclaimed, "I am the true king. Not by birth alone, but by the will of the gods. The suffering you feel is the weight of your own fear, the fear that you rejected the one chosen to lead. No longer will I stand by and let my mother's name be tarnished. The gods have spoken, and I shall rule with justice and mercy." The villagers fell silent, their fear slowly replaced with awe. The elders, their faces drawn in disbelief, finally lowered their heads in respect. And so, Chiemeka was crowned king. The gods had destined him for this, and through every hardship, through every rejection, he had become the man he was always meant to be. The curse was lifted, and the village began to heal. Crops grew again, children played in the fields, and the land thrived under Chiemeka's rule.